Once upon a time, in a small village nestled in the countryside, there lived a woman named Margaret. Margaret was known throughout the village for her insatiable greed. She always wanted more and was willing to go to great lengths to satisfy her desires. Margaret came from a humble background but had managed to accumulate some wealth over the years through her shrewd business dealings. However, no matter how much she acquired, it was never enough for her. She constantly craved more money, more possessions, and more power. Her greed consumed her every waking moment. She would exploit anyone and everyone she could to get what she wanted. She took advantage of people's weaknesses and vulnerabilities, manipulating them for her own benefit. She cared little for the consequences of her actions or the impact they had on others. One day, a poor widow named Sarah moved to the village with her young son, Thomas. Sarah was struggling to make ends meet and desperately needed help. Margaret saw an opportunity to exploit her vulnerability and offered to lend her money at exorbitant interest rates. Sarah had no other choice but to accept Margaret's offer, as she had nowhere else to turn. Margaret knew this and took full advantage of the situation. As the months went by, Sarah found herself sinking deeper into debt, unable to repay the loan. Margaret reveled in Sarah's misery. She seized the opportunity to take possession of the widow's small house, leaving Sarah and Thomas homeless. Margaret felt a temporary rush of satisfaction, but it quickly faded as her insatiable desire for more consumed her once again. Her greed began to isolate her from the rest of the village. People grew wary of her manipulative ways and distanced themselves from her. Margaret didn't care. She believed that, as long as she had wealth and power, she didn't need anyone else. But as time went on, Margaret's fortunes started to change. Her business ventures took a turn for the worse, and she began losing money. The more she tried to recoup her losses, the deeper she fell into a downward spiral of debt and despair. Her extravagant lifestyle came crashing down around her, and she found herself on the brink of ruin. The very people she had exploited and mistreated over the years turned their backs on her, refusing to offer any assistance. Margaret's greed had finally caught up with her, leaving her utterly alone and destitute. She realized that her insatiable desire for more had cost her everything she held dear. The villagers, once victims of her greed, now pitied her. In the depths of her despair, Margaret had an epiphany. She realized that true wealth and happiness could not be found in material possessions or power. It was the love and compassion of others that mattered most in life. With this newfound understanding, Margaret set out on a journey of redemption. She sought forgiveness from those she had wronged, vowing to make amends for the pain and suffering she had caused. It was an arduous task, but Margaret was determined to change. Over time, the villagers began to see a genuine transformation in Margaret. She used what little she had left to help those in need, providing shelter, food, and support to those who had fallen on hard times. As the years passed, Margaret's acts of kindness and generosity became legendary in the village. The once greedy woman had become a symbol of hope and redemption. Her past actions were not forgotten, but she had earned the respect and forgiveness of the community through her sincere efforts to change. Margaret's story serves as a cautionary tale about the destructive power of greed. It reminds us that true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the relationships we build and the compassion we show towards others. And in Margaret's case, it proves that even the most selfish and greedy individuals can find redemption if they are willing to change their ways and seek forgiveness.